The urgency of passing Sandy's bill is underscored by the tourism sector's rapid post-pandemic recovery, which has unfortunately outpaced the development of safety infrastructure. In 2024, the tourism industry's contribution to the country's GDP rose to 8.9%, generating 2.35 trillion pesos in revenues and employing approximately 6.75 million Filipinos, or 13.8% of the national workforce. However, this economic boom has been accompanied by a silent epidemic of preventable accidents. According to the World Health Organization's 2024 report, drowning has become the leading cause of death for children aged 5 to 14 in the Western Pacific region, including the Philippines. The risks facing child tourists have evolved beyond drowning to include increasingly lethal biological threats. In 2025, marine biologists confirmed the presence of new, genetically distinct species of box jellyfish, Chironex yamaguchii, in Philippine waters. Excuse me. Experts continue to classify the Philippines as ground zero for box jellyfish fatalities, estimating 20 to 40 deaths annually, disproportionately affecting children in rural coastal areas. And tragically, many resorts remain ill-equipped to handle these emergencies, stocking only vinegar and lacking essential life support equipment like anti-venom and epinephrine. This gap in readiness is exacerbated by the golden hour problem. The golden hour is a core medical concept referring to the critical window, typically the first 60 minutes after a traumatic injury or medical emergency, during which prompt medical treatment has the highest likelihood of preventing death. With respect to brain death from lack of oxygen caused by drowning or cardiac arrest caused by envenomation, we also have the platinum 10 minutes. This is because victims of aquatic, toxic, and drowning incidents operate on a much stricter timeline. In the case of box jellyfish stings, cardiac arrest can occur within 2 to 5 minutes of envenomation. We need to bridge this gap by having on-site trained personnel and equipment like anti-venom and oxygen. This effectively brings the hospital's emergency room capability to the patient, ensuring treatment begins immediately rather than after the golden hour has been wasted on transport or travel. So our regional competitors are not just outpacing us in marketing, but in the total tourism product reliability. In 2024, Vietnam welcomed over 17.5 million international visitors, a massive 39.5% increase from the previous year, while the Philippines missed its own target, receiving only 5.9 million arrivals. Thailand remains the clear leader with over 35 million visitors. As these nations aggressively improve their safety infrastructure and visa policies, the Philippines risks being labeled the unsafe alternative in ASEAN. We cannot compete for the family tourism market if our brand promise includes the caveat that emergency medical care is unavailable in our most popular destinations. In Vietnam, particularly Da Nang, or Thailand, particularly Phuket, emergency services are relatively accessible. In the Philippines, leaving the immediate vicinity of a five-star hotel in a rural area often means leaving the safety net entirely. So with the recent enactment of the VAT Refund for Tourists Act, RA 12079, the government has signaled an aggressive push to increase foreign arrivals. However, inviting families to our shores without establishing a corresponding duty to care creates a liability. A single, high-profile, preventable death of a child tourist due to negligence could cause reputational damage that outweighs the fiscal gains of VAT revenues or VAT incentives. The bill seeks to rectify this by shifting the burden of safety to the operator. Establishments that profit from providing access to nature, whether beaches or pools, must legally assume the responsibility for mitigating the inherent risks of that environment. So, magsimula na po tayo sa pagtatanong. Let's start with our key agencies. Department of Tourism muna. So, will it be Yusek Emiliza or Director Magigad? All right. So, Director, so considering the tourism sector's contribution of 8.9% to the GDP in 2024, pwede po bang klaruhin ng department ganong karami sa revenue na to ay nire-reinvest specifically sa safety infrastructure? And furthermore, ang DOT po ba sa ngayon may budget allocation para mag-subsidize din naman, mag-facilitate ng basic life support training para sa mga staff sa mga mas maliliit pero accredited na resorts?
Thank you, Madam Chair, for inviting the Department of Tourism to this particular hearing. Yes, you're correct. We have received, or for the domestic tourism market, we have recorded 134 million trips for 2025. And you're correct, although we have missed the target for the year 2025, it contributes a large percentage to the Philippine economy. Now, going back to the mandate of the Philippine Department of Tourism, unfortunately, the provision for health services is not part of the mandate of the Philippine Department of Tourism. Although we have recently signed an agreement or through the Department of Health, it would be good to know, Madam Chair, that through Department Circular 2025-0541 of the Department of Health, maybe the Department of Health could discuss later on the agreement between the Philippine Department of Tourism and the Department of Health to actually create TIFAFs or Tourism First Aid facilities around tourism destinations. Currently, we have identified 7, and in advanced stages are those in Puerto Galera and in General Luna in Siargao. And with upcoming TIFAF pilot areas as well in Boracay, Coron, El Nido, Panglao, and San Juan, La Union. And with these facilities, this will be equipped with the required emergency medicines and equipment to address emergencies. But we'd like to note, Madam Chair, that this is currently not budgeted in the Department of Tourism budget. It's actually under the budget of DOH. So it's really incumbent upon us as well to actually put money in these facilities in the upcoming budget season, especially if this particular bill is signed within the year. And more than that, we at the Philippine Department of Tourism is, we are all for security, and because that's one of the things that tourists would actually look for when traveling. And not only for marine tourism. Actually, the title of the bill is for activities related to the tourism industry. But my comment is there are various risks depending on the type of tourism activity. And risks for marine tourism is different from that from mountain tourism, from other types, farm tourism, etc. So if we want to expand the coverage of child protection activities, we might as well consider different risk factors to different types of activities. And I think the Department of Health, through their framework, health strategic framework, in strengthening health in tourism and travel, they have identified different risks depending on the type of destinations. I think that's one of the frameworks they're looking at. And so my comment, our comment for the Philippine Department of Tourism is to actually expand as well, aside from marine tourism, the risks for other types of tourism activities. So that's our initial statement, Madam Chair. For the details later on, if there will be questions on how we could improve the provisions of the Senate bill, no, we'll be happy to comment as well.
Salamat, Director. I'll have to ask a follow-up question to DOH. Pero sa ngayon, of the 8.9% that tourism generated for our GDP 2 years ago, may idea po ba kayo what percentage or of that 8.9% is appropriated for safety infrastructure, at least dun sa unang 7 TFAFs sa DOH budget? Would you have an estimate?
Yeah, for I think there should be some clear definition of the 8.9% contribution to the economy, because this is the money or the revenue that accrues to various sectors, not just for the direct contributors, no, like airlines, like hotels, no, but it also accrues to communities, no. So this is a figure computed by the Philippine Statistics Authority, no, but we don't have figures on exactly how much health expenditures are accorded to, for example, hospitals in tourist areas. No, we don't have those figures, Madam Secretary. Yeah.
Sige, i-recover ng committee yan what is the magnitude of the 8.9%, and then later I'll ask Yusek Emmy Liza magkano yung ina-appropriate for these initially 70 FAFs. I suppose in first batch pa lang ito, ano po, dadagdagan pa po ng DOT in your partnership with DOH?
Yes, this is just an initial list, no, and we'll be expanding as we go through deepening the relationship with the DOH. Yeah.
And in that partnership po, kasama po ba yung basic life support training?
Okay. With basic life support training, we're actually doing this already through our Office of Human Capital Development. No, and the Department of Tourism accredits, no, hotels, resorts, apartment hotels, and all the small mabuhay accommodations or pensions, inns, no, for especially in areas with water attractions, no, with water and safety related trainings, no. So basic life support is one of the trainings being given to tour guides, to front safety officers of various accommodation facilities. Yeah.
At ito po, binibigyan ng libre, lalo na sa mga smaller accredited resort.
Yes po, Madam
Okay,
Chair.
good to know. Salamat, Director. Yusek Emmy Liza, kung hindi man yung what percentage of the 8.9% contributed by tourism sa GDP natin, could you give us an idea magkano po yung ang line item ng DOH para dun sa safety infrastructure, including basic life support training, dun sa unang 7 TFAF?
Madam Chair, good afternoon. To be honest with everybody, the TFAF was ceremonially signed in 2024, and it was just operationalized last year. So we were able to check on the different pilot sites of the TFAP together with DOT and TIEZA, but with our last meeting with the TIEZA, it's only for NTP late last year, so they will give approximately 120 to 180 days for the TFAP to be complete. The TFAP, Madam Chair, is a 4 square meter that will be placed, that can be mobile and placed in these 7 sites. It is equipped with a CCTV, a two-way communication system, and instructional guide for the AED itself, the first aid cabinets, and a stretcher, of course. This TFAF supposedly will be manned by people from the Department of Health, either with their DOH regional hospitals or with the CHD, or together with the municipal or provincial hospitals. Depende po if the hospital or this risk disaster office ang mag-handle on the part of the LGU. But as of this moment, ma'am, this is not budgeted in our office. It will be budgeted by 2027.
So, akala ko kasi na naipasok nyo na sa budget ng DOH for 2026. So, hindi pa namin na pagdebatihan ito
Hindi
last
pa, ma'am.
year.
That's why we already, now we have the figures already. Since the TFAP will be ready by, supposedly by first quarter of this year. But we already talked with the assigned DOH or CHD who will be in charge of the manning. However, ma'am, that would be, will work on what's available. Unlike if we put a separate budget for this in 2027.
So, ang tagal pa pala. Akala ko we were starting to be covered this year.
Not yet, ma'am.
Plano nyo ba, at least, or sinama nyo na po ba sa budget request nyo sa DBM after the President's budget call at the start of this year?
Yes, ma'am. We did already po.
Magkano yung budget request nyo sa DBM? At least for the 7 first initial TFAFs, including basic life support training for staffs of resorts.
Madam, more or less, nasa 50M yung request namin. The Health Tourism Office receives the least budget in the Department of Health. We only have 20 million, including our PS and all the expenses of my office. And besides, ma'am, I do not have a plantilla position in my office. All of the people I'm working with are all JOs. That's why we are requesting, maybe with the passage of this act, we can request for a plantilla position so that there will be continuity in everything that we're doing, especially that these 7 sites will be rolled out supposedly by this year and more to come in the following years, Madam Chair.
50 million for the 7 initial TFAF. So on average, mga 7 million pesos each.
Yes, Madam.
For the whole year operation of
Opo,
each
because
TFAF.
it also has to have a connection, which is supposed to be a good connection for easy communication with CHD or the hospital in charge for the TFAF, and also for the personnel who will be manning the TFAF. So we requested for 4 people who will have rotation on duty for a specific TFAF.
And kasama na po sa 7 million per TFAF yung pag-extend nila ng life support training sa mga staff.
Yes, Madam Chair.
And of course, beyond Puerto Galera, General Luna, Boracay, Coronel, El Nido, Panglao, and San Juan, dami pa pong tourist area sa ating bansa, dami pa pong mga resorts and other establishments, especially the smaller but accredited ones. So, how many more TFAFs are you planning to set up? How many per year? Or eventually, ilan po lahat will be covered by this partnership?
Madam Chair, that's supposed to be, I think, between 25 to 30. But since it's like a bigger volume, we try to reduce it for the initial rollout to be 7 first. Ito po, Madam Chair, our challenge is that the area, it has to be donated by the owner of the lot. So, dyan kami nahihirapan. In San Juan, we have an area, but apparently it is, according to DNR, it is not safe to put that TFAF there. So we talked with the governor and he said he will donate a portion of his land. So, ganun po yung struggle namin. Even in Puerto Galera, although the mayor is very generous in the donation of the lot, but ang problema naman po, walang DOH hospital doon. So there's a lot of things that we want, and we have walang budget pa po for this because it will be this year pa po na maita-turn over ng DOT to the Department of Health.
25 to 30 ang total na target nyo. Initial count. Kasi, 80 plus provinces tayo. Baka at the very least, by the end of the first phase, may 80 or 80 plus TFAFs, 1 in each province. And alam naman natin kung gaano kalaki ang ang marami sa mga probinsya natin. Pero at least I hope that DOH together with DOT is thinking of establishing these TFAFs in each province. Plano nyo po ba 7 per year or meron ba kayong numbers per
Actually,
year?
ma'am, the budget of the TFAF comes from the TIEZA. Not DOH. Yung manpower and sustainability of the TFAF should be coming from the DOH, including po the manpower. I mean, the nurses, everything every human resource for health that nandun po sa Department of Health po siya, Madam Chair.
Okay po, Yusek. Yes, Director.
Yes, since Yusek mentioned about TIAZA, no? TIAZA will be following the same model we use for tourist rest areas, no? So for the TIFAFs, no, TIAZA is going to fund the construction of each of the TIFAFs, no. However, the complement for the complement for staff, for medicines, and everything is going to be DOH. No?
Okay, salamat po. So this is something we have to monitor and work on. Kayo po sa implementation, kami oversight and budgeting year on year hanggang makover yung buong bansa. Kasi we have those tourist establishments of different sizes, including the smaller ones, but accredited by DOT all over the country. At ang isang interest ng komite is to find out kung paano sila masasubsidize din sa mga training na to, and then the other capacities na gusto nyong ma-develop sa kanila through the TIFAFs. Sige po, another question po for Yusek Emiliza. So in the light of the presence of lethal box jellyfish in our waters, even the discovery of a new, even more venomous species, in-update na po ba ng DOH yung listahan ninyo ng mga mandatory emergency medicines lalo na para sa mga coastal establishments? And specifically, may programa ba para siguruhin na antivenom, epinephrine ay stockpiled at accessible sa mga provincial hospitals or health facilities na malapit sa mga major tourist zones?
Yes, Madam Chair. In fact, happy to announce, but hindi lang din ganun ka-happy because among the 18 regional offices of the Department of Health, only CHD 4A has a program with regards to all of the emergencies that's happening among the tourists. In fact, they have something like this na nilalabas po nila, and we want to offer this to other regional offices of the department. However, lack of budget din, ma'am, and manpower. Kasi ang 4A, ma'am, is quite big compared to other regions. So, mas may budget sila, mas may tao sila. So, ang hirap din, ma'am, with the DBM, they only give the plantilla unti-unti per year. So, kahit meron kaming programs, nahihirapan din kami to implement all of these programs.
Pero what about the other regions na kailangan din ng emergency program? Sinama na ba ng DOH ang budget request sa DBM for more CHDs than Region 4A?
For 2027, ma'am.
Apo, for
Apo,
2027.
yes, ma'am.
How many more regions and which ones are you
We're
requesting
planning
budget for?
almost all of the regions that has water or marine tourism because we want to gather all of this. Ang isa rin namin hinihingi is a better collaboration and coordination with the province or the LGU. Like Bohol, sila po ay talagang medyo strict on those. Tapos we have naman DOH hospitals in Bohol, so it's easier to facilitate. And ang Bohol po really offers their offices na could help. Even Boracay po is also very cooperative with the Department of Health with regards to human health complement, Madam Chair.
Magkano po yung item nyo for CHD 4A for their emergencies program?
Madam, we don't have the figures for the CHD because it's downloaded to the region and it's the region who allocates to their offices under them. So wala po ang health tourism na particular office in each region. So that's also sad to admit in the Department of Health.
Kung hindi man yung line item for health tourism, yung line item for emergencies, meron ba silang ganon?
We have the Health Emergency Management Bureau, but this is not as much as covered as the other health emergencies.
So, if sa ngayon, meron palang budget for emergencies for CHD 4A, since we don't have a base figure, magkano yun? How many more CHDs did DOH request budget for kahit for 2027 for emergencies programs?
For all po.
For all?
Yes, for all po.
Okay. Okay, good.
We will be requesting that. Actually, nasa pipe na isulat na namin and we have the deadline on January 15 inside the department. So we already requested for those.
Okay. Okay, that's good po. Bukod pa yon sa item nyo for the TIFAFs or covered
Yes,
na yun?
Madam Chair. The TIFAF, the maintenance for the TIFAF is different from the inclusion of the health emergency, crisis emergency or public crisis in health with regards to tourists sa CHD levels. Kasi sila din po yung nakakausap ng mga LGUs, the CHD, our Center for Health Development.
What emergencies are covered by yung CHD ngayon operational pa lang sa 4A through this budget?
Here in what they gave us, they have yan po, jellyfish stings, heat-related conditions, heat exhaustion, heat cramps, heat strokes. So those things that drowning, of course. So yan po yung mga kasama po sa health emergencies in the CHD. Okay. CHD4, Madam Chair, yun lang po ang meron.
CHD4A pa lang. Sige po. So, yung mandatory emergency medicines, lalo na sa coastal establishments, updated na po ba yun, yung inventory ng DOH
Yes,
para
Madam
doon?
Chair. So we updated the one that was given previously. So sinama na din po namin doon yung epinephrine. Although we want sana po the EpiPen, however, the EpiPen doesn't have yet the FDA approval at this point.
What's delaying it in FDA? Kasi hindi lang jellyfish bite victims ang mga ngailangan. Maaring yung mga may extreme asthma. Yes, yung vulnerable sa anaphylactic shock. So, anong problema sa FDA?
I'm not aware, Madam Chair, but we will get in touch with the DG to check out if there is someone who applied for the EpiPen at this point, Madam Chair.
Kung hindi EpiPen, is epinephrine administrable some other way?
Yes, Madam Chair. Meron po yung naka-ampule siya.
So by injection. Okay. And then so I'm imagining na dun sa CHD4A simula and then eventually next year yung sa 7 unang TIFAFs bahagi ba ng first aid basic life support training ay administering the epinephrine via injection?
It is a higher level that the basic life support. Pero po, normally, dapat po skilled health worker ang nag-administer ng epinephrine.
So those would be the DOH personnel
Yes, Madam
deployed
Chair.
in the
Yes, ma'am.
TIFAFs. Okay po. Anti-venom po, stockpiled na rin ba kahit sa provincial hospitals na accessible ang sa tourist establishments?
I cannot say anything about that, Madam Chair, for the anti-venom. Kasi po yung anti-venom natin is through RITM. And at this point, I know they have a problem in the production of the anti-venom. So I'm not that pretty sure if we have a stock readily available. But I will look into it, Madam Chair, and get back to the committee if we have. And if we don't have, we will do for any solution that would be possible, that it will be available at hand at the CHD, Madam Chair, or the provincial hospital or the DOH hospital, Madam Chair.
Salamat po. So at least the good news is we used to or we are producing our own domestic anti-venom. Would you know what the problem is sa RITM, sa current production?
What I'm aware of is that yung anti-venom po kasi natin, sa horses natin siya equine po kasi. So I know that our horses are not in good space because yung nagpapagamit ng lot ay hindi na rin nagpapagamit na ng lot anymore. Parang something to where the horses will have to stay. But to the nitty-gritty or the details, I'm not that fully aware, Madam Chair.
Paki-update na lang po yung committee when you find out. Ang daming moving parts, no? But
Yes,
yeah,
Madam.
as you know, kasi tagal yun, DOH and DOT, or sanay na kayo running long-term programs. If we can bring all of these elements together, then pwede tayo maging mas proactive and mas responsive. Salamat po, Yusek. Then could I ask now the DILG? Sino pong magsasalita for DILG? Ms. Lovesita, kayo po ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So, ito, tanong po, to ensure consistent compliance, susuportahan kaya ng DILG ang isang provision dito po sa pinag-uusapan nating Sandy's Bill na gawin yung safety seal certification or a similar safety audit focusing on lifeguards and medical readiness. Susuportahan kaya ng DILG na yung safety seal certification na yon maging mandatory prerequisite para sa renewal ng business permits, at least para sa lahat ng water-related tourism establishments?
Yes, ma'am, yes po. Actually, the ILG is supporting this bill. And then, may mga, doon sa ating position paper ay nandoon din yung mga, such as yung ating, meron recommendation from the ILG that the proposed bill clearly define the scope of tourism industry-related facilities, particularly for the guidance of LGUs, which are at the front line of regulation and business permitting. So, tingin ko po ay okay naman po yan.
Salamat po. So, dito parang binubuo natin yung picture
Yes
na
po.
gusto natin yung DOT at DOH in partnership, i-capacitate yung mga tourism establishments, fulfill yung obligasyon through the TIFAFs, through the emergency program ng mga CHD, and bilang incentive din, requirement at first, pero incentive din itong safety seal certification ng DILG. So, kailangan i-capacitate lahat
Yes po.
na makapag-comply. Salamat po sa DILG. Could I now ask Dr. Boko? Yes, Dr. Boko. Salamat for joining us.
Hello.
Yes. So, meron po kayong 5-minute presentation.
Yes.
So, Dr. Boko is, of course, the co-founder of the Philippine Jellyfish Stings Project.
Yeah. And I think
please
before that,
proceed. Yes,
I need
Doctor.
to raise a very important point.
Yes, please.
No government agency, even the RITM or UPPGH, is producing antivenom. So that's the bad thing. In fact, I have just built a research proposal that hopefully could get endorsed by you, so I can submit it to DOST and hopefully start doing it, do the research, hopefully do the trials in the coming years. So yeah, that's the problem. And another thing is that the antivenom needs to be species-based. So we can't use the antivenom that we can get from Australia because they have different species of box jellyfish, and the lethality or the venom itself or the venom profile is also can also vary within the species. So we must use the species that we have here, specifically Chironix yamaguchi that we have just described, and use that in producing the antivenom. And another important point, hopefully the Department of Health is around. So we must know that the box jellyfish stings and other jellyfish stings is not an allergic reaction. It is what happens there is the reaction of the venom in the human body. So we need to note it here that using epinephrine might even be harmful for jellyfish stings. That's why we propose, if we don't have antivenom, which is very expensive, we don't even have it here in the Philippines, is to use preventive measures, and that includes the use of vinegar and other nature-based solutions that I will show you in my presentation.
Salamat, Dr. Boko. The committee really wants to learn the big picture about this, all the possible preventions and all the possible cures. I do remember, nung bata ako, lumalangoy kami sa dagat, sa Capiz, nakagat ako ng jellyfish. Talagang binuhusan ako ng tito ko ng suka.
Yes.
Pati yung ihi nung anak ng pinsan ko, na buwisit ako doon. But we really want to see the big picture and make the proper recommendations in our committee report, the preventions and the cures for this. Please
Yes.
proceed with your presentation.
All right. So yes. So my presentation is entitled "Managing Jellyfish Stings in the Philippines Through a One Health Approach." So a lot of the information that I've put in this presentation has already been peer-reviewed, which means that the evidence that we have gathered have already been submitted to other international scientists for approval, and many of them have been already published. And one paper is currently under review, but I'm happy to share the information that we have gathered with my team. And I have to commend Joseph and Christine for helping me brainstorm, and my other colleagues who are in UPPGH and UP Diliman. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the jellyfish sting problem, in our argument, we put that argument in a paper that is under review in a premier international journal called The Lancet. So thankfully, the editorial board, so a lot of them work for the World Health Organization, did not reject our paper, so they have reconsidered it. So we've argued that the jellyfish sting problem in the Philippines is within a cycle. So it's a repetitive, preventable cycle, actually. So what happens is that when a jellyfish sting occurs, so there's perhaps an overreaction, if you will, by even the media and even the government. So the government may put out statements and warning signs without providing concrete, even reactive solutions. And I understand that. That's why we're here in this afternoon. And through time, social events, so you can see in the lower section of the slide, happen. And even these social events fuel or helps us forget the jellyfish sting problem. So once we forget the problem, so we don't remember it now, and then the conditions are set for injury. So because we did not only forget the problem, we did not implement solutions that can actually break the cycle. So what happens is that by partly being forgetful without the solutions, so this jellyfish sting incident occurs, closing the cycle. And that is the cycle that we would like to break, and hopefully this bill would actually help that. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this slide shows the locations of the deadly box jellyfish that we have compiled for over 10 years in our research. So that has already been published in an international journal. So there are 3 panel figures, so A, B, C. So the triangle and then the circles that you can see are the exact locations of the deadly box jellyfish species. So figure panels B and C show the zoom in, or like the magnified sections of Visayas and then Palawan. So what we can get from these data or figure is that these locations, coastal locations of the deadly box jellyfish, also coincide with coastal communities with low socioeconomic conditions. So a lot of these communities are voiceless or powerless in our society. And apart from that, these locations of the box jellyfish are also important fishing grounds. So this is not, that's why I need to point out, or to get it out here, that the box jellyfish sting problem is not only a tourism problem, but it is also a food security problem, especially that it can also affect the fisher folks. And it is also a bit interrelated because these fishing communities also support the tourism activities in a particular area. The next slide, please. Thank you. So, trigger warning. So, a lot of these images can be graphic, so you might want to move your head to not. So, the slide shows the different effects of the venom of the deadly box jellyfish species. So, obviously, it is not just an allergic reaction. So, you can see injuries. It can actually form welts na parang hinampas ng latigo. So it is really painful, and it definitely requires prompt medical intervention. So the outcomes of the injury can be very diverse, but it may lead to death. So unfortunately, so that's the effect of the venom. And I apologize for the images. So the lower portion of the slide shows the image of the deadly box jellyfish. Next slide, please. Thank you. So we also have a species, other species of box jellyfish that they may not be lethal, but they can induce debilitating or severe symptoms that can actually bring the patient or the victim to the hospital. So we call it the Irukandji syndrome, and the symptoms or the suite of symptoms can include severe pain on the site of the sting. The victim or even the medical doctors, if you are not trained, they may not be able to see the sting of the Irukandji box jellyfish. So one of the remarkable symptom of this is the feeling of impending doom, because yes, the effect of it is really severe that the victim feels like they would want to die because of how severe the symptom is. So, the lesson here is that we do have the other species of box jellyfish that can bring different painful or severe symptoms in the Philippines, unfortunately. And next slide, please. Thank you. So this figure, I know it's a bit daunting if you don't have background in statistics and stuff, but it shows you the prevalence of the observations of the box jellyfish and the jellyfish stings by our interview participants. So the line graph shows you the prevalence of these observations. So you can see in the x-axis of the figure, the x-axis of the figure shows you the month, which the month when the box jellyfish and then the jellyfish stings were observed. So you can see in this figure that there is a bit rise of the observations during April, May, and June, and that rise of observations is because people go out during these summer months or the warm months. However, we need to see that you can still spot box jellyfish or observe box jellyfish even in months that we don't expect them. So the lesson here is that we should not just consider box jellyfish as a seasonal problem, but a problem that might even occur when you least expect it, such as during the months of November and December. So that's the lesson in this image. So the next slide, sorry, thank you. So we need to look at jellyfish as a One Health problem that requires intervention. So when you see One Health, it is not a traditional way of looking at a medical or hazardous problem. So you look at not only the symptoms of the problem, but all the underlying interconnected factors that actually fuel the problem. And for jellyfish specifically, and that includes our access to prompt medical care in a coastal area, and also disaster-related or disaster-relevant measures. So next slide. So in our paper that is under review in the Lancet, we are proposed several One Health interventions. So I am more than happy to share this to the committee. So there are the first, so the image shows different nodes. So the node here on the left portion is shows the overall management of jellyfish stings, specifically for the Philippines. And in the middle nodes show the different major solutions that you can that we can do in the country. So I would like to focus on the universal first aid treatment. So before going to antivenom, so I think we should first focus on universal first aid treatment, and that is what we don't have. So different agencies may have different recommendations, and even UP-PGH and UP Manila, they don't have like a consistent recommendation that can be provided to the national government. So that's one thing. And another important solution that I would like to focus on in the interest of time is having inclusive public awareness campaigns. So that includes having warning signs in coastal areas that are written not only in English but in different languages. So because we have different languages, and if our budget in the future will suffice, so we may even put the warning signs using the Braille system for our people with disability that are also marginalized in our society. So there are very many solutions that we can provide, that we can think of, and can actually be doable or can be done in the Philippines. Next slide. Thank you. So there are many nature-based solutions that we can do. So this one is the axis of vinegar. So we call them, researchers call them vinegar poles. So the left section of the image is the axis of the vinegar in a coastal area in northern Australia, while the figure panel B on the right section of the slide shows the vinegar pole in Thailand. So even in, say, global south countries like Thailand, they have that type of solution. So these vinegar pole can be done. It can be scaled, or it can be spread throughout the Philippines. So even access to vinegar is an important problem here in the Philippines. And although it's a bit cheap, it's still a problem here in the Philippines. And but the good thing here is that we have a cost-effective preventive solution instead of using antivenom, which can have inconsistent effects even in Australia. So antivenom does not always work in Australia, unfortunately, because of the speed of the action of the venom inside of the human body. So the next and last slide is thanks very much. Is having dedicated swimming enclosures in beach resorts or even in areas where people can swim. So even these cheap, low cost-effective solutions, these are already important in preventing or making a barrier against between the box jellyfish and the tourists who would like to swim in a coastal area. And having warning signs as well, so you can see a good warning sign. So all of these images, by the way, are in the Philippines. So the warning sign here is located in Nasugbu, Batangas. Although it has a strange spelling, but it's already good enough to warn the tourists that they have a jellyfish or box jellyfish sting problem. So that's my presentation, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Boko. Initially, may nakikita ba kayong touch points between your presentation, particularly on universal first aid treatment and the inclusive public awareness campaigns, and what DOT and DOH have already begun to partner on, those TFAFs and the program for emergencies, including marine emergencies in the DOH regional offices?
Sorry. Yes, I really commend the Department of Tourism and the Department of Health as well for having these sites where they can put first aid stations. So I think it's already a big win, considering the setbacks and the disadvantages that we've had in previous years. So, but I need to reiterate that we must be careful with the applying first aid or even medicinal solutions that can be found in Australia or other countries, because they may not always apply to other countries like Thailand and the Philippines. So, for example, the antivenom, it doesn't work always in Australia. So how much more here in the Philippines when we don't even have a production of that? So we cannot rely on less cost-effective treatment, but we can have preventive measures, and we can leverage them and even spread them to different coastal areas. So yeah, preventive solutions are, I think, the edge that we have right now, and we can use them to leverage against the box jellyfish sting problem.
Thank you, Dr. Boko. And will you or any other members of your team be available for the technical working group?
I am, well, personally, I'm more than happy, but I'm not sure if Joseph and Christine. So
Well, the committee will be sending invitations for the TWG, and
yes,
we really appreciate your participation.
Thank you very much. And
Salamat po.
before I finish, I would like to thank the Garovillas family for their advocacy and undying efforts in bringing this big issue into a powerful chamber like the Senate. And thank you very much. And thank you, Senator, for having this platform. Thanks very much.
Maraming salamat, Dr. Boko. And of course, I and everyone around the table join in thanking Sandy's parents. Could we hear now from the executive director of the Philippine Hotel Owners Association, and then after him, the representative of the Hotel and Restaurant Association of the Philippines, unless these are the same two organizations. So first, Mr. Bengzon, sir.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. The Philippine Hotel Owners Association is different from the Hotel and Restaurant Association of the
sir.
Philippines. Just to give you a background, the Philippine Hotel Owners Association is made up of hotel owners, investors, and developers. We have about 220 member hotels and resorts around the country, across different star categories. And I have to emphasize that all 220 member hotels and resorts are accredited by the Department of Tourism. But I also have to mention that while 220 appears to be a big number, this is a fraction of the total universe, because if I'm not mistaken, the total number of accommodation establishments in the Philippines is probably in the 9,000 range, no? Thereabouts.
So mga 2.5% kayo? Okay
But
po.
we represent many of the big ones. Now, I think it's also important to note that out of the 220, half of the hotels are found here in Metro Manila, and the rest are scattered around the country. And among the coastal areas or destinations where we have member resorts include the Boracay, Panglao in Bohol, Mactan, various parts of Palawan, Batangas, and Puerto Galera. We recognize the importance of providing a safe and enjoyable, memorable stay for our foreign and local guests. And among the guests include the children who we recognize must be given extra attention. And as you pointed out, safety is a very important factor. A safe destination is an attractive destination. An attractive destination is a competitive destination. All our hotels, as I mentioned, are accredited by the DOT. They have several measures in place to help keep children safe while they're within the hotel premises. And this includes 24/7 security, CCTV, controlled access to guest elevators, etc. I think what we'd like to emphasize is that for the resorts, which are in the coastal areas, our members operate within a controlled access environment supported by assigned security personnel monitoring public and guest accessible areas. All our operational staff are oriented on child safety and awareness and are instructed to promptly escalate any safety concerns involving minors to resort management. Parents and legal guardians are advised upon check-in and during guest briefings that children must be supervised at all times within the resort premises. We are regulated by the DOT and shall coordinate with the department as our supervising government agency. And as we also articulated during the first hearing, we remain committed to providing adequate and age-appropriate access to health and medical services, and we support the Child Tourist Safety Act, otherwise known as the Sandy Act. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bengzon. Nanote ko po na half of your members are in Boracay, Panglao, Mactan, Palawan, Batangas, and Puerto Galera. All but 2 of these are already covered or will be covered by the first 7 TIFAFs of DOT and DOH. So sana please take note, yung isang stakeholder who's here representing 220 members, hindi pa lang covered nung first batch ng TIFAFs yung mga nasa Mactan at saka sa Batangas. So para at least hindi kailangan, of course naman, DOT and DOH are not working tingi-tingi, but if it's possible to work with other stakeholders na nag-aggregate na or nag-aggregate na, then it's still slow, it's difficult, expensive, but necessary para makapag-scale for impact. So salamat Mr. Bengzon and for the association support for the bill. Sino pong nandito for the Association of Hotels and Restaurants? Or Philippine Hotels and Restaurants Association?
Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am. So, Ms. Attorney Mika.
Yes,
Attorney
Your
Mika
Honor.
Jenny. Yes, ma'am. So, you are representing?
The Hotel and Restaurant Association of the Philippines.
Yes. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. HRAP fully supports this bill. We believe that the passage of this bill will further improve or strengthen tourism, especially so since it will give the tourists, especially those with children, the confidence or the assurance that whatever happens, the hotels and the resorts are equipped with medical needs, medical equipment that they will need. As also mentioned by the HRAP, also looks forward, Your Honor, to the one mentioned a while ago by the DOT, the TFAP. It will greatly help our hotels and resorts, Your Honor. That would be all for HRAP.
Thank you, Attorney Mika. Sa ngayon po, are you already able to access basic life support training sa association ninyo from any government agency?
From the local government, I'm not sure of that, Your Honor, but I will check and we can give data later on, Your Honor.
Thank you. Kayo po, Mr. Bengzon, nakaka-access po ba kayo ng ganong training sa association nyo?
On a broader scale, we have We have a partnership with the DOT. Actually, the training that we offer is related to what we deliberated on earlier, yung unang Senate bill, no, on child safety. So we've run 2 modules already with the DOT. A third one is coming up. It will be tripartite among Philippine Hotel Owners Association, the Department of Tourism, and the Accommodation Establishment Safety and Security Council.
That's a government council, sir.
Hindi po. Ito po ay private,
private,
made up
okay.
of the security executives of hotels.
So again, para sa atin na nagtatrabaho sa gobyerno, and in this case especially the executive, interesting na there's at least a third stakeholder, not in the room, pero may partnership sa isa pang association na baka pwedeng tignan din ng departments paano pwedeng makipagtulungan din sa kanila, both to accelerate and then to scale up yung mga preventive and responsive measures natin for greater impact. Thank you. So at this point, unless may iba pang resource person I haven't been able to call who would like to... Yes, ma'am. Ms. Carolina.
Yes.
From DSWD.
Thank you, Madam Chair and esteemed colleagues. Good afternoon. We would like to share our support to this bill, the intention and objective of the bill to prevent and mitigate and increase yung capability natin in responding to cases such as what happened to the case. But we've noticed po in Section 8, in the implementing rules and regulation, that there is the mention of the National Authority for Child Care. We would like to inform the committee that the primary mandate of NAC, or National Authority for Child Care, is on adoption. And we would like to recommend, therefore, that the TSWD as the parent organization and NAC being the attached agency be included and replaced in this section, so that you can tap specialist, child protection specialist who has more comprehensive background rather than adoption of children, can provide technical assistance in terms of programmatic aspect and policy development on these laws. We also recommend to include the Council for the Welfare of Children, who's our oversight government agencies, looking and monitoring that all special laws protecting children will be implemented accordingly. In another, yes, Director, in another area, we would like to also to, while we recognize the intent of the bill is to protect our tourists people, we would like also to advocate for the protection of our local people in the community. Therefore, we would like to recommend to expand the coverage of the bill not only to protect our children, nagkataon lamang po na yung bata yung na-stung, but it's possible that our fisher folks, which was mentioned by sorry po, malabo yung mata ko.
Dr. Boko.
Sorry po, ayan po, the welfare of our fisher folks, masyado po tayong nakafocus dun sa economic area, capitalizing on the welfare of the tourists people, but we're leaving behind yung humanitarian protection of all the people involved in the community, and of course, the people in this tourist destination. Maraming salamat po, Senator.
Maraming salamat, Ms. Carolina. Salamat din nga through DSWD, salamat sa Council for the Welfare of Children, dahil sinabi nga po ni Yusek Tapales kanina, bagamat hindi namin sila naimbita, they actually submitted a committee report. So the committee is grateful to the Council for that, at i-consider din sa technical working group. And then lastly, salamat dun sa pagbibigay nyo ng pansin tulad ni Dr. Boko sa mga mangingisda natin na nagkakataon, documented na sila yung kasama sa majority population dun sa mga marine tourism areas. tuloy-tuloy po yung pagsulong ng Senado ng mga batas para sa ating mga sektor sa kanayunan. Kasama na po yung mga mangingisda, lalo na po sa pamumuno ni Senator Kiko bilang tagapangulo ng Committee on Agriculture and Food Safety. But nothing prevents us, lalo na sa TWG, tignan kung saang mga provisions nitong Sandy's Bill na halinawa ay magiging Sandy's Law na relevant banggitin at bigyan ng pagkakilala or papel, no? Tingnan natin sa TWG yung mga mangingisda na tagaroon talaga sa mga marine tourism areas natin. So maraming salamat. So unless there's any other, yes, Sir,
Say po.
Mr. Conti?
Yes,
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 sir.
ma'am.
Please.
Yes, Senator. So good afternoon to everyone. And first of all, we would like to thank the committee for inviting us and giving us time to share our inputs on the Senate Bill number 559. So I would like to read our
Mr.
draft,
Conti, you are representing...
the Philippine Statistics Authority.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay po. So the PSA would like to express its sincere appreciation and support in the passage of SBN 559, which seeks to prevent, mitigate, and respond to risks affecting children and other tourists visiting the Philippines tourist destination by guaranteeing that they have access to adequate medical and emergency services as well as facilities, medication, and life-saving equipment. Additionally, concentrating on the tourism industry, it reveals that local children suffer the equal or more danger if discovered partaking in tourism-related economic activities. In addition to that, I would like to read our recent statistics in relation to SBN 559. On the registered deaths between 2021 to 2023, it reveals that approximately 30%, or about one-third of annual drowning or submersion fatalities involve children aged 1 to 14 years old. Additionally, drowning was second leading cause of death among children aged 5 to 9 years during this period. So in 2021, 1,056 deaths. In 2022, 1,052 deaths. And in 2023, 1,079 deaths. In relation to economic activity, the Philippine Statistics Authority also have the total number of child labor estimates based from the October 2024 and 2025 rounds of the labor force survey. It revealed that approximately 11,000 child laborers in fishing and aquaculture or engaged in fishing and aquaculture, 6,000 in transportation and storage, that includes postal and sea-related transportation, and 22,000 in accommodation and food services activities. This includes resorts accommodation and mobile food service activities. On another table on the ranking of provinces with registered deaths due to drowning under 15 years old, we have the ranking from 2021 to 2023, but I will just rank the latest. So we have Bulacan, which has the most number of drowned under 15 years old, followed by Pangasinan, Nueva Ecija, Cavite, Camarines Sur, Rizal, Negros Occidental, Isabela, Pampanga, Laguna, and in the 10th place is Cebu. Across years, Bulacan and Pangasinan are the top 1 and 2 provinces. And the last table is on the number of registered deaths due to contact with venomous marine animals and plants by place of occurrence from 2021 to 2023. In summary, Quezon and Pangasinan are the top 1 and 2 in 2021 and 2022. While in 2023, the top province is in Pangasinan and in Palawan is the second top province for the registered deaths due to venomous marine animals. So, in keeping with our commitment towards fostering data-driven policymaking, the PSA stands ready to provide pertinent data and technical assistance as needed. We are certain that providing timely and accurate information will aid in the formulation of well-informed policies, such as SBN 559. We appreciate the committee's efforts in fostering a collaborative approach to policy development and remain available for any further discussion or clarifications in our data. We will also like to thank the family of Garavillas for advocating this to the Senate and the Senate bill and making sure that this incident would not happen again. Thank you.
Thank you also, Mr. Conti. Pati dun sa mga data na nilalarawan yung isang sinabi ni Ms. Carolina kanina na kahit dun sa sektor ng child labor sa mga fisher folk sector, dun sa mga marine tourist areas din natin, we have children who are vulnerable. Hindi lang dun din sa mga contact with venomous marine animals, pero yun na nga, being subjected to labor conditions kahit habang bata pa sila. So thank you very much. It's important not only for this bill, though also for this bill, lalo ni sinabi niyo yung mga bata na pinagtatrabaho sa mga tourist establishments din, but also in terms of yung general best interest of the child. So salamat po. So, yes, before I call Ms. Sarah, Mr. Abrigado, of course, Philippine Red Cross. Please proceed po.
Philippine Red Cross. Yes, Madam Chair. The Philippine Red Cross, of course, strongly support this Senate Bill 559 or the Sandys Act. But we just have some few observation baka po makatulong. Number one is the emphasis on medical evacuation. The Section 4 of the bill mentioned means of transport to the nearest hospital, but I think we have to be very specific that it should be an equipped ambulance. And by saying ambulance, it not only include land ambulance, but also sea ambulances and air ambulances. Last December 21, we have an incident in Palawan. An embassy called the Philippine Red Cross for an emergency medical evacuation of a 3-year-old boy stung by a jellyfish. We were able to arrange an air ambulance for the boy, but we were not allowed to transport because it happened at night. So wala daw pong night capacity radar ang ating mga airport para kami ay ma-allow to have the medical evacuation. So I think this aspect of the tourism safety bill should also be looked at, not only land ambulances, but sea ambulance and air ambulance and other medical logistics like yung EpiPen, nabanggit naman na po kanina, which is not available here in the Philippines for anaphylactic shock. Also, Madam Chair, we would also like to emphasize that the Philippine Red Cross provides first aid training. Actually, last year in 2025, we're able to train 157,570 individuals. These are certified trained first aider, and 15% of which comes from the hospitality industry, meaning hotels, restaurants, which is about 23,636 individuals trained in hospitality industry for first aid. Also, the Philippine Red Cross has a lifeguard training. So we help the PCG and DOT in training our lifeguards. In 2025, we trained 3,022 in basic water safety and rescue training, which includes lifeguarding in both in pool and in seas, open seas there. Also, I think that's it for the Philippine Red Cross, Madam Chair.
Salamat. Mr. Abrigado. Dun, very well taken yung sa Section 4. At the same time, in addition to equipped ambulances, land, sea, and air, meron din ba kayong advice, although I hope the Red Cross will be in the TWG, kasi iba't ibang capacity sa ngayon, yung mga LGUs natin, any advice about what a provision could say basic emergency vehicles para lang maitawid yung tao sa mas equipped na whether
Yes.
vehicles or facilities?
Yes, Madam Chair. Actually, the Department of Health has the licensing capacity for the ambulances. They have categories of land ambulances such as patient transport vehicle, which transports mga stable patient, and then ambulance type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is basic life support and type 2 is advanced life support ambulances.
Salamat po. Yes, Yusek.
Madam
And
Chair,
Liza.
if I may say, the DOH also, with its HFAP funding, the Health Facilities Enhancement Program provides for land as well as sea ambulances. Pero ang problema po with sea ambulances, when we give it to the LGU in charge or to the province in charge, kailangan may marunong maneho ng sea ambulance. But so far, we have given a couple of sea ambulances around coastal areas. Meron na po tayo, Madam Chair, for everybody's information lang po. Air lang po ang hindi natin pa kaya as of now, Madam Chair.
Yes. In addition, Madam Chair,
Yes.
kung meron tayong difficulty with the air ambulances, I think we can have a strong partnership with the Air Force para po kapag kailangan ng emergency medical evacuation in tourist area, especially we are archipelago. So, pag kailangan, we can tap maybe the Air Force for such purposes.
Madam Chair, if I may
Yes,
also
Yusek.
say, in Boracay po, we have coordination with the Philippine Army for the air ambulance. However, from the private sector, one of the private institutions already expressed their willingness to have a MOA with any government agency for the air ambulance. So meron na pong nagganon, except that we're trying to work on it kasi late last year lang namin nakuha yung intent. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And that's good news. I hope ma-maximize nyo talaga po iyon.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
just
Mr.
one more
Abigado,
addition.
sure.
Yeah, so section 5 of the bill, it mentioned adequately trained in first aid. So medyo general lang po siya. Maybe in the IRR na lang po yung details. But just an example, in occupational health and safety, it was mentioned that for every 50 employee, there should be one first aid trained. So maybe kailangan din natin ng ganun ka. And also in occupational safety and health law, the definition of a first aider was very ang tawag dito, defined talaga siya as someone who is trained by Philippine Red Cross and the Department of Labor and Employment Certified Training Center. So baka lang po kailangan natin ng ganun ka Yan.
Salamat. And kumusta yung 3-year-old boy? Is he okay?
Yes, ma'am. Naka-survive naman siya since hindi kaya ng airlift. We decided to have a midway transport. So, kinuha ng LGU ambulance, sinalubong po ni Red Cross to transport to Puerto Princesa. So, from El Nido to Puerto Princesa is about 4 hours travel. Kaya po kailangan namin ng midway because the oxygen supply of the LGU ambulance would not meet the 4 hours requirement. Kaya nag-midway transport na lang po kami.
Pero at least naging maparaan.
Yes.
So we need to put together a system that is at least at the start 50% institutionalized, 50% maparaan on the way to full I'm guessing, but just for the record, may partnerships na kayo with DOH and DOT sa ganitong pinag-uusapan natin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Actually, HEMB is a partner of Philippine Red Cross, especially in implementing first aid and basic life support training. And also sa DOT naman po, yung sa lifeguard requirement for resorts and hotels.
And you're already working with DOH and DOT dun sa, ano nila, sa pangalan? TIFAFs
TIFAF.
at saka dun sa Region 4A CMD nila?
Not yet, Madam Chair, but actually that's one maybe area of collaboration for both DOT and DOH and Philippine Red Cross po. Baka pwedeng kami yung magtao or whatnot. So that could be a collaboration, Madam Chair.
Salamat. Please explore that. Please explore that po. And ang Red Cross, are you working now with the two associations here? Yung Philippine Hotel Owners at saka yung hotels and restaurants?
Regular naman po, Madam Chair, ang patraining ng mga hotel and restaurants because of the occupational safety and health requirement, yes.
Okay, salamat. So at this point, dear colleagues, we'll have the last word from the parents of Sandy, specifically si Ms. Sarah. So this bill began with Sandy, your family, and hindi matatapos sa kanya kasi magiging regalo niya ninyo sa other kids and other families. So maybe you'd like to give a last word also on behalf of Sandy and your family, including maybe kung may reflection kayo, paano nyo gustong magbago, gumanda yung safety culture natin, pati sa tourism as part of Sandy's legacy. So, Ms. Sarah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Senator Risa. Ladies and gentlemen, to the stakeholders and to all the committee members. First of all, thank you po for having us again as resource speakers and of course for refiling po this Sandy's Act coming from the 19th Congress to the 20th. So just to give inputs on what was earlier shared. Yung sa TIFAF, would it be okay if we collaborate with the LGU health centers just so para lang to maximize dun sa property donations and
Madam Chair.
Yes, you said,
ma'am.
Emily.
We are into that. That's one of our options. If there is no DOH hospital, or we are up to the proximity because we are
Yeah,
very much aware of
exactly.
the necessary time for the first aid to be given immediately.
Yan, exactly po. Opo. Thank you for that. And also to give additional input on the pamphlet kasi I have a cousin who's a doctor and she shared to me that pamphlet that you were holding earlier. Thank you for that and thank you for spreading that within the medical community po ba. But we would like to also include suggest to input emergency numbers. Of the general like for example yung toxinology group, if we may suggest also, Senator Risa, if we can include in the TWG yung toxinology group, Philippine Society of Toxinology.
OMSEC, pakinalang po.
Ayan po. Yes, please.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
it's
you said.
already in the 2027 budget for the DOH to have a dedicated number for the health emergency. Kasi ma'am, wala talaga kaming, really, my office is as young as 2022, so hindi pa siya talaga, hindi yung like old offices like the HEMB, they already have established all their budget and resources. Kami po, we are just starting and we really need all the resources we need so we can implement all of this and moving forward to sustain it in the next years that will come. But whatever po na inyong we are already thinking about it, Madam Chair.
Just so we can complete the Senate bill talaga. And hopefully, yun lang ang dasal namin, we don't want to miss any. Just so we can leave our Sandy a legacy Yun po talaga yung wish namin. For Dr. Boko, we would like to thank you for the learnings you've shared earlier. And for my opinion lang po, if this were discovered and shared years ago, my baby would have been here with us. Baka because of the public awareness, kung nalaman ng madami yon, then it could have made a difference. So thank you for that. Also ito, we would like to emphasize, thank you, Director Magigad, for working with us on the flags, implementing of the flag safety, flags, yung different meanings niya, and the standard size of the warning signages. I have here with me yung sample na we would like to really push for the resorts to strictly implement and not just put into words or writing in a memorandum, but hopefully through the bill, which hopefully ma-promulgate natin into law, maging mandatory na talaga, especially for those locations with sightings of jellyfish talaga. Yan. And it says here it may cause death. So for me, that's an important information to share for the public to know. And what else? For PSA po, we would like to ask for an updated data, including hopefully 2025, kasi we have noted 4 incidents that were documented pa. We don't know yet if there were non-documented stories. Pero ito hopefully ma-update natin yung list so that for public awareness. What else? I think that's it for me. Daddy, baka you would like to give your
Thank you,
final
Ms.
words.
Sarah. Mr. Garavillas.
Sarah actually prepared something, but I'll read it na lang. So again, dear Senator Risa, ladies and gentlemen, stakeholders and members of the committee, good afternoon, and thank you for your time, to help out in Sandy's Act. First of all, we are here today with the driving purpose to ensure that no more lives are lost to preventable accidents on our shores. Our vision for the Sandy's Act is not to reinvent the wheel, but to give it more power to turn. We aim to strictly integrate the existing safety protocols established by our leading agencies, such as the Philippine Coast Guard, Department of Tourism, and other related agencies. While these guidelines and protocols exist, their impact is only as strong as their enforcement. By integrating these protocols into the Sandy's Act, we are mandating safety rather than just suggesting it. Once this act is promulgated into law, it will finally have the teeth required to ensure compliance. To the beach resort owners and operators, this is a call to action. Safety can no longer be a secondary concern or a best practice. Under this law, it becomes a strict obligation. We are moving toward a future where every traveler can trust that the resort they visit is held to the highest standard of protection. Thank you to everyone in advance who's working together to transform these protocols from words on paper into a shield for our children, citizens, and foreign visitors. We are looking forward to the technical working group who will be formed to work on the IRR with Sandy's Act. We hope to make sure that safety is the law.
Yes. For
Thank
final
you,
words,
Mr.
if
Garavillas.
I
Ms.
may,
Sarah, yes.
we would like to emphasize also the important role, the crucial role of DILG, especially on the issuance of the business permit, what was earlier mentioned, issuance of business permit and the renewal. With the law, kasi since it will put teeth, I hope they would really strictly implement this and monitor, visit resorts, and make sure that what you've mentioned, Senator, the safety seal, they'll be the ones to do this, I'm pretty sure. So we're also looking forward to them being in the TWG. Thank you. Thank you so much in behalf of the family. This means a lot to us. Thank you so much.
Maraming salamat kina Ms. Sarah and Sir Edward Garovillas. So, okay. Isa pang at huling thank you. Maraming salamat po to all sa resource persons and stakeholders who really took the time to share your insights today. This hearing has reinforced an important point. Child protection is not a single issue conversation. It cuts across online spaces, physical environments, families, communities, technology, finance, and governance. Whether we're talking about online sexual abuse and exploitation or risks linked to tourism and travel, the vulnerabilities of children often intersect. So therefore, so must our interventions and responses. Marami sa mga sinabi ninyo ngayon ay malinaw na galing sa aktual na karanasan. You spoke about enforcement challenges, coordination gaps, emerging risks, and the limits of law when systems and resources do not keep pace. Mahalaga ito sa amin bilang mambabatas, and I'm sure Sen JV would say the same thing. For the proposed amendments to our OSAIC law under Senate Bill number 1588, and for Sandy's bill under Senate Bill number 559, and also Senator Rafi's bill 1673, today's discussion helps ground these measures in reality. It reminds us that strengthening the law is not only about expanding mandates, but about ensuring that what we pass can actually be implemented fairly, consistently, and with the child always at the center. We fully intend to continue these discussions through a technical working group, the first of which is scheduled on February 2, 2026, where we can engage more deeply with the provisions, examine trade-offs, realidad din yan sa legislation, clarify roles, and address concerns that were raised today. So dun natin hahabulin yung mga detalye. To our partners in civil society, law enforcement, government agencies, and the private sector, your voices matter in this process. The laws we craft must reflect not only our aspirations, but the realities that you face every day in protecting children. At the end of the day, our shared goal is simple, even if the work is not, na ang bawat bata ay ligtas, online man o offline. Wala na sanang susunod na Sandy. Wala na sanang susunod na alias Mark o alias AJ. That is the standard by which these bills will ultimately be judged. Muli, maraming salamat sa inyong oras, sa inyong trabaho, at sa inyong patuloy na pakikipagtulungan. We look forward to continuing this dialogue in the next stages of the legislative process. This hearing, for clarity, involving Senate Bills 1588, 559, 565, and 845 is adjourned.